Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, the Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut. Hope you like this video and subscribe. I'm going to talk about tonight, the Mets have introduced their new manager, Carlos Mendoza, and sort of little bits and pieces of little news here and there about the Mets. But they introduced Mendoza today. I will say that a very impressive guy. Talked a lot about accountability, leadership. Had mentioned that this team had accomplished something last year, and he's just sort of coming in to add on to that. Also, thought what was interesting about his press conference is he likes to talk, which is kind of good. We don't want to manage coming in here being quiet. Also thought it was important that he had been in New York the last few years. With the Yankees, so he has an idea of the terrain here. Hopefully he understands that this is a much more difficult job than what the Yankees have over there. He talked about how important it was for the fans to understand that the fans know a lot here. We know a lot here, and we've seen a lot. The big takeaway was that I really feel like after he had his press conference, that I think we might have a good manager here. I saw parts of the press conference yesterday at Wrigley Field with Craig Counsell. That guy, oh my God, Mets really dodged the bullet. When he's getting on the podium saying that he is afraid, he is scared, I thought of one thing, and I thought about Mickey Callaway when he came out and talked about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever it was, saying that he was going to love the players more than any other manager. When he said that, I was like, oh man, this guy's going to be a disaster. When you hear a manager say that he's afraid, even if it's out of context or whatever, that's not something you want to hear. Plus, I thought that Counsell had been very evasive about the Brewers situation. How it didn't seem, a reporter asked him about this whole thing with would he give the Brewers another chance? You see, he sort of hummed it and really just didn't have any clue how to answer it. And I think looking back now, I think the Mets did the right thing by not giving him more money. He didn't want to be here. So now we have Carlos Mendoza, who he sounded much younger than 43 years old. I was very surprised at how young he sounded, because I never heard him talk before. Obviously, being here with the Mets and not knowing what everything's going on with the Yankees, never heard him speak. And I was very surprised at how young he sounded. So the Mets have a very young manager, and even though he managed a long time in the minor leagues, he's been in baseball 25 years, he's got a lot of endorsements. I would mention Reggie Jackson, the a legendary Hall of Famer, Yankee, Oakland A. He came out and endorsed him. He was very complimentary of Mendoza. And he was very complimentary of Rob Thompson, who's the manager of the Phillies. And these guys were with the Yankees a long time on their coaching staff with Aaron Boone. And he knows them from the Yankee organization. He's very high on both of them. He said the Yankees really lost out on two very good guys. So that, even though Reggie's had his issues, obviously you remember with Billy Martin here, he was a winning player. He understands winning. He knows, he's been around winning managers. So he knows about leadership and all that from his time in baseball. But I thought that Mendoza came across really well in that short little time and snippet. I saw him. Now, obviously, it's all going to come down to the X's and O's. It's all going to come down to how he handles himself after he makes a mistake, or he, in terms of just, he brings in the wrong reliever, or he takes out a pitcher too quickly, or he uses a pinch hitter that is not successful, but he believes in them and they don't come through. Those are the things we're going to have to see how he handles, just in terms of the criticism. That's the one thing we're going to learn a lot about with him. Is how does he handle the criticism here? How does he handle the insanity that he's going to have to deal with over the next 3 years? He's got a 3-year contract, and he's got a 4th year. So that is a a substantial amount of time. I think that's pretty fair to give him that. Now, I am very glad that he has experience, at least managing the minor leagues. That says a lot. But really, his experience being here is probably more important to me than really his time in the minor leagues. The last guy we had that had a lot of experience in the minor leagues was Louis Rojas, and that was just that didn't work out. And obviously, the guy before him had no experience managing. He couldn't manage himself. Too busy with the ding, texting those women. He's so desperate for a date. And that's why he got basically one of the reasons why he's not in baseball anymore. It's Mickey Callaway. But, so obviously, I was very much high on the Mets having Buck Showalter here for 2 years ago. I was very high on him, obviously. He did a great job the first year. This past year was a disaster. The biggest thing, and I saw Spaz Licata say this, it wasn't Spaz. No, it was Evan Roberts say this on the show prior to SNY's Baseball Night in New York. He said that the biggest thing that Mendoza has to do is bring toughness to this Mets ball club. Do not allow any team to hit Mets willy-nilly with no kind of repercussions, with no kind of, retaliation. Mets cannot allow these teams to hit one Met after another. That has got to stop. And that was one of the biggest things that as Mets fans I was very disappointed in with Buck. Something you should know about how Buck Showalter was in terms of his background. He is someone that learned under Billy Martin. And Billy, if you're a fan old enough, he would not have put up with all these great Met players getting hit all the time. If Pete Alonso got hit like he did in June, and he was out for 10 days, at least 2 players on the Braves, including the pitcher, would have been having to deal with some kind of retaliation. I can guarantee that would have definitely had happened. But be that as it may, that's kind of the thing the Mets need to bring in with this new manager. He has to be tough against, when we get in between the lines, this team has got to get a lot nastier and a lot meaner. That's got to be the change in the culture. They talk a lot about the culture and about tradition of winning and doing things the right way, working hard and stuff. But one of the things that has to come into this organization is a sense of toughness. That has been a major problem over the last 37 years. Since 1986, the previous 2 ownership groups have done everything to walk away from that. They've done, and you don't have to be, bastards, but you need some sense of toughness here, that you're not going to put up with any nonsense. We've been dealing with this for 37 years with the Mets fans. We've had to deal with this for all this time, where the Mets don't stand up for themselves. They don't retaliate. Everything is nice. All the Met players are all nice guys. You can be a nice guy outside the line, but when you get on that field, you get on the field, you have to be mean, you have to be tough, and you don't take no shit. And that's been the problem here. And hopefully that is a cultural change that this manager will bring in, and this new president of baseball operations brings in, because this team cannot continue on this path of taking all kinds of BS from so many teams. Mets got to stop being the whipping boy of baseball, and in terms of just on the field. The results are the results, but you can't allow teams to walk all over you. And that's what's happened all these years with the Mets. And hopefully this manager will change that, and this new front office will change that. That has to be the number one thing, is embrace that nastiness in between the lines. That you're going to compete to the last out. Every at-bat is important, and every pitch is important. And you don't let teams walk all over you when they hit your best players. And we've seen over the last 2 years how many times Pete Alonso's got hit in the head, how many times Francisco Lindor's got hit in the head. And really, that has got to stop. If it doesn't stop, we're going to have the same problems over and over and over again. So hopefully this manager will bring this toughness onto this ball club that he's bringing over from the Yankees, we'll see. Always optimistic when they bring a new guy in. Like I said, I wasn't happy with the previous manager before Buck Showalter. I was not a fan of his at all from the very beginning. And Mickey was just a disaster. But this guy has experience. He's been in New York. He's not Craig Counsell, thankfully. But we'll see. So you let me know what you think about this video. Of course, leave comments in the comments section. Please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button before you go. Thank you, and I'll see you later.